Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Randomly Offensive. Today we'll be talking about Andrew Garfield's possible return as his version of Spider-Man in the Sony universe. Now, I'm going to throw a spoiler warning out there for anyone who haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home, and so you have been warned. We're going to hop right into it today. Andrew Garfield has been rumored to be returning as Sony's Spider-Man, which it only makes sense. He redeemed his character very well in Spider-Man No Way Home. He proved that he could be a good Spider-Man and that he was just given a bad run in his two movies. And I do believe that is an absolute fact. We have here people speculating that Andrew Garfield may return in the Sony universe on the Venom side of things. Here's the article here if you guys want to read it yourself. I'm not going to read it straight out. I'm going to paraphrase and talk about some of my own thoughts, but it is right there if you guys want to read it, hopefully long enough for you guys to read anything that you may want to read. So, Spider-Man No Way Home has brought hype back to Andrew Garfield's version of The Amazing Spider-Man, which I think is great. I think that's amazing. I think that he deserves it. And it's showing people that he is a good Spider-Man when you allow him to bring his version of the character to life. He does do a very good job. Now, Sony, I hope, has seen this, and I hope they're going to go with bringing him back. And it's not just speculation at this point. Andrew Garfield has actually mentioned that he would be willing to come back for his version of Spider-Man. Now, whether that's him coming back for a smaller role in the MCU or actually coming back for a third movie, a third installment in his Amazing Spider-Man franchise, has yet to be decided. But if he does come back, I think this article is onto something. I think this article is mentioning that he can come into the Venom universe, which I think is great. I think that's an amazing idea, and I think that Sony should pull the trigger on that, because the Venom universe and the Morbius universe, they need a Spider-Man. Sony needs a Spider-Man. Venom and Morbius and all these other characters that want to bring back Kraven, they are Spider-Man villains. They're Spider-Man characters, and I think it would do well to have a Spider-Man in there. I don't know about some of the legalities in their contract, whether that will actually allow them to have two Spider-Mans, because that will create kind of a competition between Tom Holland's Spider-Man and Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, but I don't think it would. It might, but I don't think it would, because I think everyone likes Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Everyone's happy with the version that we got, especially after No Way Home, with him being somewhat rebooted and becoming the Spider-Man that we want. So I think that Andrew Garfield also being a Spider-Man and us having two Spider-Mans exist at the same time wouldn't be an issue. I think that we could easily handle that, and I don't think that it would affect either company's box office. And I hope Sony realizes that the reason Andrew Garfield has been getting hype back and why people are wanting Andrew Garfield back as Spider-Man in the Sony universe is because he is a good Spider-Man. He just wasn't allowed to be the Spider-Man that he wanted to be in his original two movies. But as No Way Home showed, when you just let him bring his version to life and let him display what he thinks the Spider-Man is and what he thinks Peter Parker is, he does a very good job, and he makes a great Spider-Man. And if they allowed him to have that same type of free reign in the Sony universe, I think that he could revive the Amazing Spider-Man franchise. And I think it'd be a lot of fun to have two coexisting Spider-Men. They could team up occasionally, they can bounce off of each other occasionally, maybe even share universes here and there. And one of the things that is great about Andrew Garfield coming back is he's an amazing actor. I really like his movies. Some people aren't sure if he would want to come back because he's taking a more dramatic career. He's taken his career to more dramatic cinema, but he has expressed interest. So I think he would want to come back as Spider-Man and come back into the superhero field. And having a more experienced Spider-Man who went through a dark side, and getting to see his darker side and him working on that and not being such a dark Spider-Man, I think would be really nice to see in his story arc. And I also think it'd be nice to see a darker version of Spider-Man, kind of more of a Punisher version of Spider-Man. I think that would be a lot of fun to see. People love the Venom symbiote when Spider-Man's wearing it for a reason. He's so much cooler that way. And Andrew Garfield could bring that to the table without ever having to wear the Venom symbiote. And I mentioned this in my previous video in Spider-Man Could Save the Media. If you haven't seen it, you should definitely go check it out. I'll leave a link in it below on the description. But he created interest in a third movie. He made people want a third movie, even though no one really thought they would, because he talked about how he went down a darker side after Gwen passed away. And experiencing the death that he experienced and blaming himself for it, he became kind of callous and stopped holding his punches and holding back his punches. And I think that would be a great thing to see. I think it would be great to witness. I think it'd be awesome if they did a third Spider-Man, bringing him back, a third Amazing Spider-Man, and finished his trilogy. I think it'd be really cool to kind of see some flashbacks of the way he was. And then they can bring villains that wouldn't fit in the MCU into the Sony universe. And since the Sony universe is okay with being a little bit darker, we could see a different version of those Spider-Man stories being told, and we can get those darker, more gritty villains that Tom Holland will never get in the MCU. And I love the fact that this is even a possibility. I love the fact that we're even talking about this, because before No Way Home, no one even wanted a third Spider-Man. No one cared about Andrew Garfield, really. I mean, at least not his version of Spider-Man. He was the black sheep of the three Spider-Men, and now he's back, and he's good to go, and he actually has fans on his side. So I think that's great, and I think if the fans want it, you should give it to the fans. Of course, if the actor wants it, which it sounds like he does. So for the most part, this is still somewhat speculation, besides the fact that he did express interest and wanted to come back. Him coming back in the Venom universe is still all speculation, but I think it would be great. And he could definitely hop back and forth between the MCU. I think that'd be fun to see. Kevin Feige even already said that Spider-Man is the only superhero with the power to jump between cinematic universes. So we took that as Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and we just kind of assumed that this third movie was going to end with him going to the Sony universe. But instead, it can be Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man that has the powers to hop between cinematic universes, and that would be really great to see. It would be fun to see. Yeah. I don't know if I have much to say on this topic, so I'm going to go ahead and jump to one other thing that I'd like to talk about, and that has to do with the post-credit scene with Eddie Brock and Venom. So, quick spoiler warning for Venom Let There Be Carnage and the Eternals, because I'll be talking about those post-credit scenes that they both had. And I know I'm a little late to the game on this one, and you guys have probably already seen it, but just in case you haven't, you've been warned for spoilers. So, in the Venom Let There Be Carnage post-credit scene, he gets blooped into the MCU, right? And then in the No Way Home post-credit scene, he's sitting there and talking about all these Marvel superheroes and trying to wrap his head around the fact that this universe has multiple heroes, and decides to go talk to Spider-Man. And then he gets blooped back with the rest of the villains. What's interesting and what's kind of confusing about that is he never met Peter Parker. He doesn't know who Peter Parker is, and neither did Venom. And as far as I know, they've never fought a Spider-Man. There is no Spider-Man in the universe right now. So it's kind of confusing to me, because Doctor Strange's spell only brought back everyone who knows Peter Parker. I say bring back, but brought them to the universes, brought all these characters from other universes, but just the ones who know Peter Parker. And so why was Venom there? And I think the reason why he was there was because he delivered a line in Venom Let There Be Carnage saying that he has a hive knowledge of the multiverse, and the Venom symbiotes have a hive knowledge. And that means that, theoretically, the Sam Raimi's Venom from Spider-Man 3 transferred knowledge to the Venom symbiote. So the Venom symbiote that Eddie Brock has in the Sony Venomverse has a hive knowledge of the Sam Raimi Venom, right? And all the Venoms from any other universe also has that hive knowledge of their Peter Parkers and their experiences and their techniques and powers and their history and everything they go through. And so, with that being said, it's even more exciting to think that he left a piece of him behind. When he got blooped, he dropped off some. What would you call it? A symbiote goop, a venom goop. His venom broke, and he left it behind. And so now there's a Venom symbiote with hive knowledge in the universe, and I think that is way more important than we think it is, because what that does is that actually connects these two universes, and I think it's going to be the cause of Secret Wars. I think Secret Wars is going to be the next big event. I think Secret Wars is going to be the next Endgame, and I think the Venom symbiote connects the two. Now, it's been a while since I've read the comics, but basically what Secret Wars is these two universes are about to clash with each other, and for some reason, our heroes from the Marvel Universe that we're reading thinks that if they go and defeat and destroy this universe, then they'll survive. Correct me if I'm wrong, it's been a while since I've read it, but I know they fight for some reason. And I think that'd be really cool if the Venom symbiote, because of the hive knowledge, and now it's connecting the two, and is the reason why certain multiverses can interact with each other, and is the reason why Secret Wars becomes an event. I think it'd be really, really cool if they went down that road, because what that would cause is it could cause the Fox universe. We could see all our favorite X-Men one more time. That could be the universe that is coming to clash with the MCU universe, and they have to fight. Wouldn't it be cool? It'd be awesome to see the MCU taking on the X-Men and the original Fantastic Four, and it'd be cool to see. That would be really cool to see. I don't know if that's where they're going to go with it, but that would be pretty dope. And I think the Venom symbiote is what can cause that. What's interesting, though, is it's specifically the Sony Universe's Venom that is going to be connecting the universes together, because the Ebony Blade is already in there, which means there's already a Venom symbiote in there. So we could have a Venom War, because there's already symbiotes in the MCU because of the Ebony Blade being there. So we could have a Venom War, which is another thing that could be a huge event. So it could go both ways. We could have an actual Venom War, or we could have Secret Wars, and they have to fight off with the Fox universe, and for some, they can shoehorn a Venom symbiote in the Fox universe. I think that'd be great. I think it'd be better than the Sony universe fighting the MCU universe, which unfortunately, since we have this Venom symbiote in the MCU and a Venom symbiote in Sony, that's probably more likely than the MCU characters fighting the X-Men. I think it's more likely that the Sony universe will end up fighting the MCU universe down the road, which is why I think they're trying to introduce all these characters in the Sony universe. But that's also why I think it'd be a great idea to have Andrew Garfield come back as Spider-Man, because it would just be so cool to see two Spider-Men duking it out, even though they kind of built a bond. They love each other now. They're best buds. But seeing them having to fight each other to save their own universe would be pretty cool to see. I don't think it'd be as cool to see as the MCU taking on the Fox X-Men, but it would be cool. And it'd be a way to bring characters back, and it's a way to expand your storytelling in a way that has never been done before, which is MCU's bread and butter. That's what got us watching and got us becoming huge fanboys in the long run anyways, because we really did enjoy them doing things that's never been done before. So I think they need to continue with that. But anyway, those are all my thoughts about Andrew Garfield and a little bit of my theory on the Venom symbiote. Do consider hitting the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed this video, and I will talk to you guys again real soon.